Live from the Injured on the Go Just Call Mo studio.
It's a blast!
It's Orlando's own Tom and Dan.
Welcome to A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Tom.
I am Dan. We are live on Twitch and YouTube. Come hang out. Come see the stream. Come participate. Come talk in the chat room. We'd love to have you. It's YouTube/ Tom and Dan Live.
We've got a Tom and Dan straw beach hat on tomanddan.com if you want that, a sun shirt, some new merch. So check that out at tomanddan.com. And our free beer fest and Sofa and Suds Sanford Couch Racing is coming up November 22nd and 23rd. So,
yeah, if you've never been to Sanford, which, I mean, how could you say that? But you've never been to our events, our free beer fest and our sofa races. They are the two most unique events. I think it's the only free beer fest in the history of beer fests. And as far as I know, maybe one of 6 different couch races. I think it's the best.
Yeah.
It's the Talladega of couch races. That's what I would say.
Let's do some weird job.
All right. I invented a new song for you today using AI. That's why I say invented and not like written. But I did write all of the lyrics. I went for a New York City hardcore kind of a style. Think like... think of like a
Madball?
Madball, yeah.
Okay.
Madball would be a good one. Think of like, I'm trying to think of other bands, like Biohazard back in the day.
Face to face?
Yeah, okay, here we go. Let's do it.
Unshaven, overweight, long-haired, dumb slobs.
Slobs! 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 We're the big fat slobs of America, putting in the work that needs done. Driving those trucks, grabbing those bucks, go to bed the same time as the sun. The only difference between you and me is that I am a hideous big fat slob, and I'll still be here working. Fat slob until we finish the job. Slobs, slobs, slobs. Slobs, slobs, slobs.
You gotta have a breakdown. He created the breakdown. I didn't do the breakdown. AI made the breakdown. You gotta have a chunky breakdown, right?
How could it be anything else than this is how people will write songs in the future, right? Like
have a
any
friend-
hardcore band that's starting now is writing this way, right?
I have a friend that will remain nameless that works in music who had a friend, or let's say friend, come to him and say like, hey, I've got this new song. Can you help me split it up into stems? You know what stems are? AI music. And it offended him. It hurt his heart because he's a true musician. And he was like, stems? Why are you talking about stems? Anyway, let's get to it.
Well, on Zoom with us, my buddy from Miami from high school,
There you
Bob Lyons, is on the Zoom with us. How you doing, Bob?
What's up, guys? Yeah, so it's all about the breakdown with hardcore music.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a hate breed intro, actually.
It was a little hate breedy. Yeah, I could definitely see that. And it's funny because I feel instantly inspired when I do something like this, and then super guilty because I know that I stole the essence of all of those bands' music on the internet and then squeezed it into my own song. And it's kind of a terrible thing.
Well, the question is when are we going to get an AI created hit song that actually gets on the Billboard, and will people accept it?
That's already kind of like happening here and there, and then it's like
What was that band like 2 weeks ago? What was it, Velvet Sunrise or whatever?
Yeah. People are trying to sneak it through.
Yeah.
It's just like the information travels so fast, though, it can't get popular because all of a sudden the hate on it because it's AI jumps. You know, it's like looking at the comments to see if a video is real or not. People know in the comments. So until it becomes indistinguishable and like you can never tell if
We
it's
just
person
need
or
more of it, right? Like we need to pump out so much AI garbage that AI starts stealing from itself, and then we all die. That's what I think. That's what I think. Anyway, welcome to the show, man.
So, Bob, tell us about your job.
I am a combination video guy, photojournalist. I take pictures, I do video. I started out in the news business at CBS in Miami and I worked there for 10 years. And then after that, I got into freelancing, which has kind of led me down a road of filming, pretty much anything you could do with a camera. So I've done everything from makeup commercials to, to sports car races. The 24 Hours of Le Mans was one of my biggest highlights, the Indy 500. So I've done a lot of car stuff in the last 10 years.
So, Bob, let's go back to when you work for the news station. So you were a cameraman?
Yeah, I started out as a overnight video editor. So I would, show up at Channel 7 in Miami, if anyone's familiar with that.
Yeah.
I had to start work at 3 a.m. and I would cut beta tapes of all the news. And we'd always get those tapes of the stuff that doesn't make it on the air, all the crazy stuff. So I had this really cool sizzle reel I did with all these, accidents and fights. And I set it to the soundtrack of a Damnation AD hardcore song, which it's been banned from YouTube, so I can't show you guys that. But that was really fun.
What year are we talking? Because I remember when it having sort of any sort of best of fights reel, all the crazy
I still
things.
watch those every night.
Yeah, but it was on the before it was the internet flooded us with it.
Oh, you'd have a VHS tape in my day.
It was super popular for someone else to curate that for you and then pass around that video.
Dub it. You'd have somebody dub it, and then you'd start handing them out.
Yeah, this was 1997, so basically the reel would only be seen by people that came to my house.
Yeah. And man, it's crazy. It's so funny, thinking about how you'd have to travel somewhere far away and be on premises to edit something. When thinking about it now is I'm not gonna go. I'll just do it from home.
I like it when the director or the producer of the film has to get a courier to carry the tape in a messenger bag. I like old school Pony Express style. He's navigating through the streets of New York City.
So Bob, when you worked for the news station, you just worked your way up as a camera guy, right?
Yeah, starting as an editor, I realized, the camera guys were getting all the, they're all the respected people at the station. They're having a blast. So I just started asking around the older guys that were there, long before me to show me how to do the camera. And I would shadow them and go out in the live truck to the news scenes on my own time. So I'd do my regular job of editing and then after work spend, 6 hours with these guys learning. And these were some of the best guys in the business, so I got some good training with them. And eventually, I worked my way into the photography roster, and it was a lot of fun. So they call it a photojournalist, and I was the breaking news camera guy. So I'd be the guy, when you see these reporters out in the wind and rain of hurricanes, holding on for dear life. I'm the guy shooting that at this time.
Oh wow.
Or house fires, robberies, carjackings. I would go to all those kinds of things.
So, Bob, I'm curious, back when you were a camera person and
you can say cameraman. This is a safe space. This is a safe space. You can say
I
that.
wanted to say
it. You can say it.
That's the only man.
Look at my beard. You're allowed to say it around here. I have a hillbilly beard.
Back when you were a cameraman, and then when you were filming reporters out in hurricanes, at that time, were they had the trend? I mean, I know it's always kind of happened, but to exaggerate how bad it was, because how that became a trope in society, where you see the camera
find a piece of trash that's blowing down the road.
Yeah, or the reporter standing in the only puddle that is within 100 yards.
Yeah, we've all seen the guy in the canoe go behind him.
Were you doing that back in the day?
I knew that lady too. Yeah, it's true. If say I got to work at 2:30 and there was a big flood on South Beach, hey, we're gonna go over there and shoot the flooding, and you'd get there and it had already dissipated. So we picked the biggest puddle to put the reporter in, and there would literally be nothing around except for that one small puddle. So they do that. I mean, and there was another guy. I don't know if I should say his name, but we were down there in Key Largo filming for a hurricane, and he's literally kneeling down in the water to make it look like it's up to his waist, but he's kneeling down.
Oh, that's a great idea. Like we do in a pool. Like when you get in a pool in the shallow end and you take the water all the way up to your nose and you just kind of stay there and cool yourself off.
Yeah, but you're sitting here with your butt on the floor.
No, you're just standing on your toes.
This 1 foot wave, literally a knee-high wave comes by, and he throws himself against the pier and exaggerates, and I'm just kind of standing there rolling my eyes behind the camera. It's pretty ridiculous.
So, Bob, I read the article that you posted on Facebook, and you kind of discussed about working for the news, and you got burned out because If it bleeds, it leads. And I know
Ew.
Daniel's wife.
Speaking of lady camera people,
Worked for the news online, and she kind of felt that same burnout with constantly being inundated with horrible stories.
He'll understand. Watch his face. So my wife was like an online reporter and in charge of writing all of the stories for Kaylee and Casey Anthony. So it was all just infant death for like 2.5 years, and she's like, I don't think I want to do this anymore. It's really sad.
Yeah, I mean, that's the reason why I got out of it, because, when I first started shooting for CBS, we did a lot of cool investigative reporting and entertainment, but then it kind of morphed into, the bleeds that leads kind of stories. And I mean, some of the stories that stick out to me are like, oh man, we pulled our news truck up to this house where there was a cockfighting ring in the Redlands down like in Homestead area. And it was 5 minutes before we were going live to report on this. It was a murder-suicide at a cockfighting ring house on this farm ranch. And we're sitting there, and I got my camera set up on the tripod, and we got the signal tuned in. And then 2 minutes before we're going live, this truck pulls up with these two guys, and they're like, hey, what's going on? What's going on? And my reporter says to them, yeah, there was a murder-suicide. And then they said, they asked for the name, and we confirmed who it was. And these poor guys, I mean, they just started screaming and hitting the steering wheel and going, no, no, no. And then they just took off. And now we're like about to go live on air. And me and my reporter, Evan Bacon, we're like looking at each other like, holy shit, what just went down? Okay, 3, 2, 1, go. And then he's telling the story. Yeah. And we like literally told these people that their best friend's family member had, killed themselves. So things like that, I mean, are just going to like drowning, and then they turn the body over, and the guy's been laying in the lake for so long that his arms are stiff. So you see this body being towed by a police boat across the lake, and it's just these two arms like frozen straight up in the air.
Whoa. Oh man.
Oh
yeah,
man.
So really, because he had been laying, down in the water for so long. When he turned him over, his arms were like sticking up like that. So my camera angle was just seeing those two arms going across the surface. And that never even hit the airwaves because it's too gory. So
yeah. But just being
I'd watch the news if they played that stuff.
Well, just being exposed to that every day, it's like hard to go home and get rid of and just enjoy yourself. You're just like that. The image is haunting you. You're just like, man, this is.
Too much.
You almost like need some sort of extra pay to be exposed to that every day. Because
it's like hazard pay.
Yeah. And so I'm curious, Bob, when how many times do you deal with people yelling stuff? Because that had become a thing.
Effort riding the P
on social media when they see you filming with a reporter somewhere. They yell, like I know in the 90s it was Baba Booey and but
we had a lot of Baba Booies.
But social media created a craze where
can I get a high yay? That was a big one.
Yeah, was that happening a lot when you were doing this?
No, it happened all the time. And this was before social media. So I remember we went to Paris we were doing a story on the baby Doc Duvalier, who was the dictator of Haiti, and he was out in Paris hiding, and we got this interview. And my reporter, Michelle Gillen's doing the live report from on the street in the city of in Paris. And at that time, George Bush was the president, and they hated George Bush and Americans. So, I mean, 10 guys surrounded us while we were going live, and they're screaming, F Bush. It's just, and I thought we were going to have to like get into a physical altercation, but we had the French CBS crew with us. And there was a really big guy, and he kind of was our bodyguard for that moment. But it happened all the time. I mean, I had rocks thrown at me during. You remember the Elian Gonzalez riots down here in Miami?
Do I remember that? Me and John was driving around in my mini truck were tire fires going.
Yeah, they were checking out the neighborhood. you
Yeah,
know?
like it was back in the day where like, it's funny. My mom in the '90s, your mom would be like, "Oh yeah, you want to go out and check out the riots?" And you would go.
No, but you know what? I still do that now. If anything is happening around here that's bad, they're like, their house is on fire down there. I'm like, I'm gonna go down there.
Yeah, but I'm saying I'm 17 years old, you know, and I'm like,
You
"Hey,
were
mom."
a curious 17-year-old.
And, the wizard was 16 years old. They were just driving around. There's fires happening. But yes, I remember.
Yeah, so I was in front of Elian Gonzalez's house every day for a month while we were waiting for them to take him, for the feds to come and get him. And you know who really scored on that gig? Were the people that lived right across the street from Elian Gonzalez, because they rented their front lawn parking to all the network live trucks for like $10,000 a day. And then they'd come out with food and sell them their food.
Oh my God, they're selling croquetas. They're like giving them food. Yeah, oh my God, they're geniuses.
Bob, $10,000 a day.
Because we're talking about the big networks, and they wanted that front row seat. So they set up these scaffolding with cameras, all the lighting. So they had your network anchors were all there right in front of Elian Gonzalez's house, but across the street. So those people lived directly across, and next to them had all their space rented out. It was a really good opportunity.
I mean, it's smart
Wow.
if you can get over. See, I'm too stupid and too reactionary. I'd be like, this is ruining my house. You need to be an opportunist and be like, no.
Yeah.
We'll move out. You can have this. We'll make the money.
I wouldn't even thought of 10,000. I would $1,000 a day. I would think was too much.
Well, you need to start thinking bigger, baby.
I know.
You're the business department. You're supposed to think big.
The day they took him, if you remember, it happened like 4 a.m. So I got a phone call at 5 because we did it in shifts, so I'd be there for 12 hours. So it happened when I wasn't there, but I get the phone call from the news director, and they're like, you got to get to the station. So we go in, get the live truck, and my assignment that day was to cover the corner of 17th Avenue and Flagler, which is where all the protesters were lined up against the cops, and they converged in the middle of that intersection. And the cops come by and they decide to drop a tear gas bomb right next to all the media I don't know why. So we get tear gassed.
I know why.
It's fun to watch nerds run around. Yeah.
Hey, every once in a while, you shoot a rubber bullet into a reporter's leg because,
Yeah, because nerds.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
it's the same reason I put Icy Hot in a nerd's jockstrap. It's like you mess with them.
Because they tear gassed us, and then, all right, so, I don't know if you've ever been tear gassed, but, you can't breathe. It feels like you're underwater.
Yeah.
And you can't take a breath. So everybody runs into there's a Walgreens on the corner, and I'm talking like 100 people running at Walgreens, and they're just stealing the gallons of water off the shelf and pouring it in their eyes, and then they leave. They don't pay for it. And
that happens a lot in Walgreens. I just want to say it's their number one thing that happened.
But the second time we get tear gas, we go run to that Walgreens, and they had pulled the shutters down, so we couldn't get in. So they tear gassed us twice, and then CBS sends us. They couriered out some gas masks. So that's some pretty cool photos of me doing camera work with like a gas mask with the whole apparatus on it. So when they would do it, we got tear gas like 5 times that day, and the other times I was able to withstand it. But it's crazy because where the mask ends around the edge of your forehead, everything's burning around that, but you can still breathe. And
Whoa.
one of my photographer friends was on the floor like throwing up at one point. It was crazy. And that's when they threw the rocks at us and stuff. Yeah, it was a nutty day.
So it's interesting because a lot of people don't realize the cameraman is in the same situation. Like when they're there with some sort of riot going on, the reporters.
Oh, I think they're more at harm's way because they have to carry their equipment. If you're just a reporter holding a mic, you can drop it and haul ass.
So what does the news say of like if you're ever hurt in any of these like situations? Do they pay, like is there any sort of hazard pay or extra bonus for putting yourself at danger?
There was never any hazard pay. Fortunately, I've never been hurt on the job, and no one that I know in that has been hurt. So we've had so many close calls, though. I mean, I've been in high-speed car chases with human traffickers, things like that. Like this guy we were investigating because he was a human trafficker. He got busted. He went to prison, and when he got out of prison, he wasn't supposed to be working in this agricultural business down in it was in Naples. And so we were investigating with the camera to see if he was doing it. And we were in this unmarked white Ford Explorer, like SUV with tinted windows. And I pull up to the front of his farmland, and we're trying to get a shot through the doors to see if this guy's doing the agricultural stuff that he wasn't supposed to be doing. Anyways, they see us and they come for us. So I'm also driving the car with the camera. So I had to set the camera down, and we're going down this 2-lane road in the middle of nowhere in East Naples, which is like pretty much the Everglades.
Yeah, yeah.
And we've got this known, convicted felon trafficker, human trafficker chasing us. And I get up to the corner and I lost him in traffic. But like, yeah, I mean, we do like crazy stuff.
That's beyond crazy. I mean, did you at any point are you thinking like this guy's gonna blow my head off or start shooting at me or?
Yeah, because his rap sheet, one of the items on the list was pistol whipping. So
of course, that's how you human traffic. I don't mean to tell people this, but if I wanted to traffic somebody, I'm going to whip you first, and I'm going to traffic you.
I don't want to get pistol whipped today.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
That's nuts, man.
And so like, and then back then the cameras were they bigger because they were way heavier and stuff.
Yeah, we had a 25-pound, it was called a DVC Pro camera by Panasonic. It was after the beta cameras. Those were even bigger. But it's 25 pounds on one shoulder, and you're running with it all the time. I actually got a herniated disc from it. Jeez. And almost had to have surgery on my neck. But I didn't do surgery, so don't ever do back surgery if you can get out of it, because I'm fine now. But they were going to do this weird surgery where they go through the front of your neck and move your esophagus over and take the disc out and replace it with a metal cage, they called it.
Yeah. Crystal's dad had that done.
I know
remember
people that have had that done.
Yeah, the surgery's it's for your spine, but it goes through your throat in the front. It's weird.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't be able to like look up and down. So I actually was signed up for that surgery, and then on the Sunday night before it, I just said, I'm not doing it. And luckily I didn't do it. I got a second opinion. I did physical therapy and I was fine. And I've never had the problem again.
That's what I'm doing with my colonoscopy. I'm supposed to have it tomorrow. I'm going to have time. I'm fine. I'm canceling it. Just look back there, man.
Yeah. I'll get a flashlight.
This camera right here is a decent camera. Put it in, we'll see. I go an inch. I go 2 inches.
So
for all those crazy stories, we did such cool work too. We did like on the entertainment side, I got to meet the band Kiss.
Whoa.
And film their last concert with the 4 original members. That was in 2000. And we had a whole backstage, because my reporter, her name was Michelle Gillen, was personal friends with Paul Stanley's wife. So we were backstage hanging out with Paul Stanley, sitting at a table with him, just the 4 of us, like chatting. And I didn't know what to do with myself, because I grew up on Kiss and loved them so much. I was definitely like fanboying out, asking who his influences were, like an idiot. But that was so much fun. But there was a moment on that backstage where Peter Criss, the drummer of Kiss, handed Gene Simmons a handwritten note. And Gene reads it, and I'm filming this. He reads it and he crumbles it up. His face turns red. He throws the note in the garbage and walks away. And then I'm following with the camera. And I think like later, I'm like, man, I should have gone back and pulled that note out of the garbage, because who knows what it said. And that would have been like something that could be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame or whatnot, because it was like the final breakup of the band. But I didn't get the paper. But they did sing Happy Birthday to me on that trip, because it was my birthday. So Gene Simmons sang Happy Birthday to me on camera. But he said he called me Robin instead of Robert. So.
Gene's not a detail guy. He's a big picture guy. Gene's not a detail guy. He's like larger than life. Robert. It's fine.
So, Bob, final question about the news. Did you ever encounter a reporter that froze? Or
the Tossum Tursum?
Or had a Tossum Tursum or that kind of thing? And,
that poor woman.
And what are you trained to do? Can you help them at all? Like,
you know what I would do is I would just go back and forth with the camera really fast, like zoom in, because people would laugh.
No, I do know one. I wasn't the cameraman on this one, but she was a good friend, so we were talking about it. And what happened was she froze. She forgot what she was going to say, so she just started mouthing words but not speaking, so to make it sound like her microphone got cut. Which
Brilliant.
it obviously wasn't, because you could still hear the ambient noise. So you're just looking at her, and she's like moving her mouth.
That's brilliant, though. That's really smart.
Man, that's quick thinking.
That is a ninja level lady. Like, that is fast. I want her in my foxhole when we need a plan, and she's like, just mouth your word.
But it's a horrible plan.
Well, I think my daughter is 17, and she's does a lot of online courses and things with school, and she says that the kids they glitch out when they don't know, they just start glitching.
Yeah, that is true. Eye contact all time low.
So Bob, when you how'd you get out in the news business, and tell us about the show you produced that kind of broke yourself out of the news?
Well, on that last year when I was working in the news business, they were just kind of hammering on us. Like I would have an assignment due Friday or Monday, and the reporter would take all week to do it, and then say, hey, you're coming in on Saturday. We're going to work till 3 a.m. to finish a story. And finally I said, I'm kind of over all this, and if you guys make me come in on Saturday, I'm going to resign. Because I'd already kind of thought about getting out of there. And they called my bluff. They said, hey, well, you're coming in. So I went in, and then I resigned on Monday. I said, I'm getting out of here. And this was when my kid was just born. So I kind of went out into the freelance world with no prospects lined up. And we wanted to produce, me and my friend he's a reggae DJ. You might have heard of him, Lanso from Culture Shock.
Oh, yeah.
So me and Lance were big surfers down here in South Beach, and we had this idea to go around the Caribbean filming a TV show about surfing and reggae music and the culture of the islands. So we basically self-funded it and made this show. We would spend like a week somewhere, come back and make an episode, and then we got a deal with Fox Sports, which was called Sun Sports back then, in Florida. And we did about 10 episodes of a show called Island Hoppers. And that was pretty awesome year, like just traveling the Caribbean and filming surf and listening to music. But that wasn't sustainable because getting sponsorship and all that, it's really difficult. And I'm not a salesman. I'm more the, behind the scenes artist guy.
Yeah.
So that fizzled out after a year. We're actually trying to get it started again. But that's another story. But then I just started doing word of mouth gigs. I didn't really advertise, and I got myself involved with the Tequila Patron motorsport team on the American Le Mans series. And I did one shoot with them, and they liked my work, so they kept bringing me back, and that ended up being a 10-year career. So all race cars from there on out.
Do you find that in the high-end videography world, that because I think I see it as like an amateur, like we do podcasting, but I'm an amateur video editor.
Yeah.
But when I look at big companies, especially like tequila brands, and they're like, it seems like those are the guys that really reach out for the really artistic, beautiful, like.
Yeah,
it seems
super
like,
talented
like
cameramen.
Red Bull.
Yeah.
I think Red Bull does it. There are a few, but
all the racing teams.
But why is that? Why do you feel like they respect the art form more? Because like Modelo did this whole thing. I remember back in the day where they went around and they'd find interesting people. But I always thought the footage of what they were filming was always like way
best of the best,
higher quality than, let's just say, like a Burger King ad or something.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, if you're a premium tequila company and you're a $1 billion company, you got to get the best, marketing materials that are available. And I mean, at that time, I wouldn't say we were the best. I think I got lucky. We were on this 4-man crew. We had an editor, me as video, we had a still photographer and a producer. But then the guy that was kind of the owner of that production company lost the gig at some point. Due to politics, and then they called me directly, and I went back to them as like their sole person. I did all the other people's jobs too, and mine, because I could do my own audio and lighting and producing. So I ended up going back to Patron as my client, and it was awesome. And we did 2 years on the WEC tour, which is the World Endurance Championship, which goes all around the world. So I had this rare opportunity to go to like Shanghai, China.
Wow,
and Bahrain in the Middle East, which was just wild. Like you could see Saudi Arabia across the water. And yeah, that was like, I remember the driver and the owner of the team, Scott Sharp, he said, get ready because this is a once in a lifetime. And it really was. Like we did 2 years of it, but I haven't really been able to get back on that kind of circuit.
Culturally, are there things when you're entering a place that, like you're naming some places that not a lot of people have access to? Do you have to be like kind of, dot your I's and cross your T's on like being respectful of things you can film, things you can't film? Like, do you just kind of go for it and ask for kind of forgiveness later?
Well, I mean, most of the filming happens at the racetrack, so
Sure.
That's all good. Yeah. When I'm in the towns, it's different. Yeah. So I didn't do much filming in like Shanghai or in the town or in Bahrain, but there is some cool stories about Bahrain because that country is it's pretty easy for Americans to go there. It's very safe, but there is a small percentage of the separatists that live there. And they had some kind of conflict back in 2014 or so. And I was there in 15, so it was like right after that.
Yeah.
And the first thing they said is just don't go into neighborhoods that have the black flags flying on the houses. I'm like, all right, simple enough. But I ended up going down the street and stopping, and I see every building in front of me has the black flag flying. I'm like, oh, Jesus.
Yeah. It's all pirates down there. Jay, you see that Jolly Roger, you just go back the other way.
But, the seeing the different cultures is awesome. I mean, the craziest one is going from Shanghai, China over to Japan because the cultures are opposite of each other. Like when you're in China, people are spitting on the floor all the time because the air quality is terrible, and they're bumping into you because there's so many people on the street and it's dirty. And then you go to Japan and it's the cleanest place I've ever been to. And you're in Tokyo, one of the biggest cities in the world, and there's no garbage anywhere on the street. And people are nice, and they line up single file for the elevator and all that kind of stuff. So it's so weird that because they're so close to each other, but so different.
Yeah. Their cultures are so different, but they look the same.
Look at him, man.
It's crazy.
Smokes. It's like looking into a mirror.
So Bob, like when you're working for the racing team, what kind of like day-to-day stuff are you doing? Is it all like kind of setting up, filming the actual race car drivers, like their prep, and
like
then
B-roll stuff?
Yeah, and some of the racing. Like, do they leave it up to you to kind of create what you think would work?
Yeah, they leave it up to me, but it's like a formula. So I know when I get to the track, the cars are going to be on the track for a certain amount of time. So when they're on track, I'll be trackside filming them. When they're not on track, I'll be in the paddock where the car sits under the tent and the mechanics are working on that. So I'll get footage of that and I'll interview the drivers. And then when the race comes, I'm out trackside shooting the race. And then I just got to make sure I'm at the podium at the end if they get on the podium. So you got to kind of plan out. You need to be at the race start, the right place, which is always a challenge because you're on, the grid is like all the cars line up on the grid at the start finish line. They kind of do this whole parade and like kind of like a party atmosphere. There's people like doing magic tricks or dancing and throwing things in the air, fireworks. So you get all that festivities, but then you have to cut it short at some point because you need to be at the end of turn one, which might be a 10-minute walk or 5-minute golf cart ride. So I got to be at turn one because you need that shot of all the cars coming straight at you from the start line.
And is it because on all those races, it's a party in the infield, and like the actual the people, the spectators, they're all partying. So is it?
They're wild animals.
And then like if you're near working for the race team, then you got the high end, like the rich partiers. So like you got the people partying infield in the RVs, but then you got the guys in the luxury boxes, VIP, and they all got money.
Helicopter to the raceway.
They got escorts and stuff. The rich people partying. So you ever involved in any of that?
Yeah, definitely. The parties in field are way better than the rich guys ones upstairs. I've been on the infield of the Indy 500. That was the most wildest race. Like people are just, by the end of it, there's just bodies everywhere passed out. And that's so much fun. But then Sebring is another one Because have you guys ever been to the Sebring race?
I've never
We've
been to the
been
race.
invited
Yeah.
though, but and everybody, like our listeners that go, they go and they party, and
They
it's
go
like
crazy.
a 24-hour party.
So they have this there's a infield and they call it the green space, and it's all kind of wooded. And at night, everybody's camping out there, and then they just start this like redneck parade. And I mean, girls are like, flashing the crowd, and everybody's cheering, and they all kind of on the dirt road there, and the people come through. It's just a spectacle. I mean, these guys, they bring scaffolding and they build structures right along the side of the track. Like there's a guy that has a saloon that he built. It's like made out of wood, and it's there every year, but they have to take it down and rebuild it every year.
Yeah, you got to have a stage for the wet t-shirt contest. I mean, we're gentlemen, like we're not animals.
They do have a bikini contest, but that's actually like from the race series. That's like the sanctioned thing. But so what's happening in the green space park is all just people's decision, and it goes however crazy they want to make it.
Yeah.
So, Bob,
It's wild up there.
one last question about your job, and then we'll talk about some old school Miami stuff. But I'm curious, like when you're a freelance photographer, a videographer working, I'm guessing like for this race team, is it just year by year? Is it some sort of contractual thing, or can it be done at any time? And, like how does that work?
Yeah, the funny thing is, I never had any signed contracts. They would just say, hey, we want to have you on board for the season, and that actually bit me in the butt one time. I had a deal with a small team, and I was all lined up for like 6 races for the season, and I was all set. And after the first race, the car did terrible, and they canceled the rest of the season. So I was left without that work. But for the most part, it's been pretty chill. But I don't have like a signed contract. I know where I'm supposed to be, and then when it's over, I send an invoice and they pay me.
Okay,
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
Well, there's freedom with that, but I guess there's risk of like with any buddy that's it's kind of like an actor. You're only working until your next gig, and it's like it's like you get a gig by gig. But when you live that life, you get used to it, and then there's a lot of freedom.
Well,
that
there's
comes
also
with it.
certain protocol that we kind of do a variation of that with what we do. Where
Yeah.
it may not
Make
work
your own
for
schedule.
everybody, but it works for us, and and it works in this industry.
Well, I mean, it's the lifestyle I crafted for myself. I can't be full-time anymore. I tried it. I went to motorsport.com for 3 years as a studio. I ran the studio, and as fun as I was, I couldn't stand it. It's like, I can't be in a cage. I got to be out there. And if that means that there's a couple months where I don't, I struggle, it's better than the alternative of being under that, hey, you got to be here at 9 a.m. and you're out. Oh, we noticed you took an hour and a half lunch today. Who cares? I'm getting the job done, right? But yeah, so now the way I have it is, I work from home when I'm editing, and then I just fly to the races, and then I come back, I work from home. So I love it.
That's awesome,
Bob,
man.
is there any, like, I imagine, like, the Navy SEALs of freelance photography is, like, the guys that go to war zones and stuff, or, like, do war zone reporting and things like that. Like, that seems like the craziest one. And then, but I'm sure it's a spectrum of, like, there's other dangerous freelance photographers that do stuff in sketchy areas.
And then there's Ann Geddes,
yeah,
who just does the little babies.
Is that kind of how it works? Is like those guys are the craziest, most dangerous ones, right?
Well, one of my reporters at CBS was a former war videographer. So he showed me the footage that he would shoot, and it was insane. Like, he would be in a trench on the ground, and the leaves were falling all around him because there was bullets going right over their head. They're in this trench, and he's being asked to pass a missile launcher with one hand, and he's filming it with his right hand, and he's passing like a missile launcher over. But you could tell that he had PTSD from that, because when he came to Miami to work as a general reporter, we would get like a real cush job for that night. Like, hey, Rob and Mike, you're going to go to South Beach and you're going to shoot cold weather video, because it was like 70 degrees out and it's cold weather. And all we had to do was literally go and film, people walking with sweaters on Lincoln Road. But this guy, he wasn't going to do that. We went over to Overtown and we wanted to find like the biggest homeless shelter fire, and
Oh, so you wanted the action.
Go, 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 go.
You want the most dangerous thing you could possibly do instead of the easiest,
Yeah, you had to get the most dangerous cold weather video possible.
That's crazy.
So,
But yeah, it was crazy. It was fun. That guy was awesome. I don't know where he is these days.
So, Bob, what's crazy to me is that I haven't seen Bob in a while, and going back to how I met Bob, I was Bob's daughter's age when I met him for the first time, I think, in high school. And Bob was he was older than us. Like he
likes to do this to older people. He likes to point it out. I'm older than Tom. He likes to point out how much older other people are than him.
In high school, 5 years makes a huge difference. Like you're a sophomore, and then the person is 2 years after they graduated.
The seniors and the people that have left. Yeah.
And Bob was always the older, cool guy that had his he had a job and his life. Some high school kid. Like he was friends with Logic Man
just
Andy.
Off the rip, he seems very intelligent. Yeah. I can just tell. Yeah, you could just the guy carries himself. Yeah, but very nice to meet you.
But then Bob, then when we come back to party down in Miami from college, like Bob saw the beginnings of the Drunky the Bear. Like me and Andy.
What'd you think of that, Bob? Did you think it would become the phenomenon that it is?
Well, can I tell any story?
Yeah. We're wide open.
I knew it was going to be a hit when you guys peed on that drunk guy on my front lawn.
Yeah, that was the one. Everybody knew.
Yeah. I'm waiting for that guy to track me down and kill me, by the way.
That'd be a great horror movie.
Anything. I mean, you remember that night, right?
Yeah. No, I remember. I was jumping off the roof through Bob's outdoor furniture. It was rough. Like we were all.
Why are you destroying Bob's furniture? This is a nice man. This is a nice man with a family.
Photos of him flying through the air and landing in my tree. But yeah, so I had this really cool house back then and we had a big Florida room in the back with a pool table. And this guy that lived across the street he wasn't one of our friends. He just lived there, and he would come over and he passed out in the recliner with like a bottle. And the next thing you know, he's laying in my front lawn next to a pile of throw up. And these guys come up with the bug spray repellent and a lighter, and they're just like doing flamethrower shots right over his
Burn
head.
his mustache off. Burn his pubes off. Flame his pubes off. Flame that dumb man's pubes off. I'm going to be a hit. I'm Drunky the Bear.
But this guy is completely out, and then somebody peed on him.
You're a bully. You flamed his mustache off, and then you peed his mustache off.
No, he was old. Like we were in college, and this guy was like a correctional officer.
They're like, get him. He's cop adjacent. Pee on him.
No, it was like he was late 20s or something. I don't know. Anyway, it's a different time.
He was a big dude too.
That's awesome. That is so hilarious.
But Bob, thanks for taking the time to talk to us. It was good talking to you. And it was good to hear from you, man. We need to next time I'm in Miami, we need to get together and hang out.
Cool. Yeah. Give me a call.
He doesn't mean that. You know that. And you know that.
All right, dude. See ya.
Hey, thanks so much, man. Good talking to you.
All right, guys. Take care. Have a good one.
Cheers. That is Tom's buddy Bob.
Well, you know what's funny is
he's cool, dude.
Yeah, he is super cool.
That guy's great.
Super nice. His wife is best friends with Turkey Leg's wife and Alex Vivas' wife.
Okay.
And then also my buddy Mark, his wife. They were all friends, and they all end up marrying friends of our friends. It's like the friend family tree is all commingled.
Like Melrose Place. Very 90210-ish.
Yeah, so that, it's like a lot of people, my friends, their wives were also either in our friends group or adjacent. So it was all
I think that's normally how it works out.
Yeah.
Unless they move away, right?
Yeah.
And I think, I've been studying this because like the phenomenon of your Miami friends, I think, has a lot to do with you living in a city.
Okay.
Because I came from such a small town that the destination was always to get out.
Yeah.
And so everybody scattered in all different directions. There was no such thing as like
you never wanted to stay.
Yeah. There was never anything like that.
Although,
which is really weird. I don't know if that has everything to do with it, but I think it might have a little something to do with it.
But some people in a small town that don't leave end up all still knowing each other from back in, like, there's those stories
They're
as well.
still
Like,
there. I have friends that are still there.
you go back to your high school reunion or the small town you grew up in, and then the people that never left, they all end up marrying each other and knowing each other and stuff.
I always wanted to do that, and then I always like this is you make fun of me. I always wanted to stay in the land and then eventually be like, I don't know, not like a mayor, but like help the city.
Oh, okay.
And so I was like,
yeah,
that's what I'm gonna do.
Be a city commissioner.
Yeah, I'm
or
gonna
something.
do something and never. No, it's not even close.
Yeah.
Do way more harm than
Have
good.
you seen politics? They stink.
I don't want to have anything.
I want
no,
nothing to do with it.
Nothing to do with it. All right.
All right. We will see you tomorrow.